So, guys, obviously PSG versus Real Madrid semi-final Club World Cup, and person obviously on the thumbnail, Rodrygo, obviously not starting again. I think that was to be expected anyway, if I'm honest. But for me, what does this mean for Rodrygo? You know, I think Gonzalo Garcia, who we're looking at as someone that has possibly taken his place, definitely in this tournament. To be fair, he deserves his place because I think he's arguably the top. I think he's a top goal scorer in the tournament this season. So he definitely deserves his place in the team. And what does that now mean for Rodrygo? You know, I think if you're Rodrygo, you have to be asking serious questions. Guys, sorry, bear me 1 minute. Yeah, if you're Rodrygo, you have to be asking serious questions about where does he actually figure in this team? Because I can see Garcia getting more game time from what he's shown so far. And obviously with Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., we know that they're going to play. You know, it's good to see that Arda Güler is getting some game time because I do think Güler is a very good player. But for me, yeah, Rodrygo, man. Yeah, I think personally he has to be looking at his future now, definitely. You know, big up to Reluctant Gamer. Big up, bro, for coming on. Guys, come on, make sure you give me your questions as well. So, obviously, the title says Rodrygo. Can he win a Balon d'Or if he moves away from Real Madrid? And for me, definitely he can. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, so for me, as I said, I rate Rodrygo very highly, you know, and I do believe if Rodrygo, you know, does move away from Real Madrid, again, the teams that he's likely to go to, you know, I've heard links to PSG, and again, if he was to go to PSG, I think that makes PSG even better than they are already. Big up to Daniela Iacona, big up to Sham as well. But I think I can't see the PSG one being realistic because unless they're gonna get rid of Barcola and do a straight swap with Rodrygo, then fair enough. But yeah, I can't see it. Big up to Cole Barber as well for coming on. Cole Barber. Guys, yeah, we'll get back to your questions. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk a bit on Rodrygo. And yeah, make sure you give me your questions as well. And again, guys, just smash that like button, help the channel to grow. Let's at least hit 10 likes. And as I said, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do. So yeah, I will get back to your questions. So yeah, Rodrygo for me. So do I believe Rodrygo goes to do I believe if Rodrygo leaves Real Madrid, he's capable of winning the Balon d'Or? I definitely think he is. I think a lot of it depends on what team he goes to, you know, because I think if you look at the Premiership, there's very unlikely winners of the Balon d'Or in the Premiership. But then again, you could say the same thing about Germany, you know, Spain, as we know, you know, a lot of the winners from the Balon d'Or come from either Barcelona or Real Madrid, notoriously. But what I would say about Rodrygo, I think there's three possible teams he could go to, as I mentioned yesterday. And that's Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Man City. So I think those are the three teams that I can see as the most likely destinations. And obviously, again, we did speak about Liverpool. But Liverpool, for me, would need to sell Luis Diaz if that's to be a possibility for me, you know. But what I would say, big up to Sophia. So obviously talking about football, Sophia. Big up to World News as well. And again, Rodrygo, I don't think Rodrygo's even in the squad, which is quite concerning. I didn't see his name on the bench. But yeah, I think it's time now for him to go because I think the fact that Xabi Alonso is playing Arda Güler and he's playing this Gonzalo Garcia, I think personally, you know, that probably is saying to Rodrygo, you know, there's other players there that will be getting their chance. And as I said, I don't want to see Rodrygo on the bench because I think he's too good of a player to be on the bench, especially for for Real Madrid. You know, and I forgot, guys, Kylian Mbappe against his former club. You know, that's going to be a great battle. You know, obviously playing against French team, should I say? His former club. So it's going to be a good battle because I'm assuming Mbappe. I wonder if he's going to play on the right hand side or tuck in on the right up against Nuno Mendes, because I think Nuno Mendes at this moment in time, as everyone would agree, is the best left back in world football right now. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a good game, definitely. But I'm just frustrated to see that Rodrygo's not even playing. You know, but again, before the game, we kind of expected that anyway. So, but guys, yeah, let me know. Do you think Rodrygo is capable of winning a Balon d'Or if he does leave? Do you think that it's a case where he has to go to, you know, a certain team if he's to realise that? Because I look at right now the capable players of winning the Ballon d'Or, and for me, Lamine Yamal and Rodrygo, for me, providing he goes to a certain team, I think that them two are the most likely. You know, if I look around after this season, because this season, as I said already, I think the likes of Ousmane Dembele, you know, Lamine Yamal are the front runners for it. Oh, look, Jay-Z's in the house. But I think after that, it's going to be interesting to see who actually is going to dominate. And I do believe Lamine Yamal is definitely one of them. But again, who else is going to be figuring into that? So I'm looking at Yamal. I'm looking at Rodrygo. I mean, you've got the likes of Ryan Cherky. But again, Cherky's going to need to, you know, obviously stamp his authority in that Man City team. I can't really see who else there is really at this moment in time, you know. But I think Yamal and Rodrygo for me are definitely the top two. Guys, if you think there's any other players, let us know who do you think will be worthy of a Ballon d'Or shout in the future. Big up to Emin, says Arda Güler. Yep, Arda Güler, top player, man. One of my favourite players to watch, Arda Güler, in this modern era. You know, I'm just happy to see that he's getting regular game time, but how long that will last, who knows? Who knows? But he's a very good player, man. Just gonna go back onto your comments, guys. Again, if you're new in here, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you smash that like button as well. So, Gamer's saying the score prediction for tonight. I'm gonna say PSG. I'm gonna go 3-2 PSG, and you know what? They've got a massive miss in William Pacho, left-sided centre-back. Lucas Beraldo's coming in, but Pacho, for me, very underrated. You know, very aggressive. You know, has good recovery pace and strength as well. So he's going to be a massive miss. So just based on that, I think I can see PSG conceding because he's not going to be there. You know, and I think him and Marquinhos, their partnership is very good. But I'm gonna say PSG. I still think PSG win the game. I think the midfield battle is gonna be key. Who controls that midfield? And when I look at what PSG have got in, as we know, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, and then you look at Real Madrid's, I think Arda Güler might actually be playing in midfield with Tchouaméni and Bellingham. And the thing is there, with Arda Güler in there, you've got better ball retention. But I think up against, because obviously they're going to have Tchouaméni, Bellingham and Güler up against Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz and João Neves. So they're trying to go light for light, really. You know, having the two left-footers. Obviously, you've got Fabian Ruiz left foot for PSG. And then you've got Güler left-footed for Real Madrid. And then you've got Tchouaméni, Vitinha. Then you've got Bellingham and João Neves. So I think they're going to try and match them up. But I think in terms of keeping the ball, I think that one goes to PSG for me. But yeah, it's good to see Arda Güler getting game time now, you know, because he's, again, another player that should be getting regular game time and competition there is high. So yeah, it's good to see. But yeah, I'm going to say 3-2 PSG. Yeah, listen, Gamer, João Pedro, man. What an absolute steal that's looking like already, you know, because João Pedro, for me, was someone that, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, he's someone that Newcastle could have definitely done with, you know, and again, someone that plays as a 10, plays as a 9 as well. But again, him going to Chelsea, and what a way to start. And again, coincidence, you know, he scores 2 goals against his former club as well. But yeah, I rate him highly, João Pedro. I think he's a very good player. And if anyone knows, when he first come to England, he was playing for Watford. And there was talk about João Pedro being, you know, being a very good player in the future anyway. You know, had number 10 on his back. I think he come to Watford when he was, I think he was playing in Watford's first team at, what, 17, 18? In the Premiership as well. And there was talk about him being a very good player for the future. So, and look at that now. He's at Chelsea. I think he's, what, about 24 now? Probably 23, 24. So, yeah, they've got a very good player there, man. And, yeah, it makes you laugh, though, how Chelsea have just got a player in that wasn't even registered into the Club World Cup. They've got him in, and he's arguably been instrumental in the last game in getting them to the final. You know what I mean? Just shows that this competition ain't that serious for that to happen, really. Because how can you just buy someone out of the blue and then add them to the squad, and then he's been the catalyst for why you get into the final from the 2 goals he got in the last game? That is mad, personally, but is what it is, man. So Sham says, if Rodrygo goes to PSG, then they need to sell someone. Yeah, as I said, I think out of all 4 of them, you know, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Doué, and Barcola. Obviously, Barcola's the obvious one. Doué's the next big thing coming out of France, up and coming talent, you know. So he's not going anywhere. And obviously, he's a more recent signing. Obviously, Dembele is arguably one of their best players, along with Kvaratskhelia. So if Rodrygo was to go there, which I don't think happens, then you're looking at Barcola. But the reports are saying that Luis Enrique doesn't want to part ways with Barcola. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. So Sham says, you already know which team I want Rodrygo to go to. Well, Sham, as I said, man, unless you guys sell Luis Diaz, I think there's no point even mentioning it, because yeah, it's not going to happen as long as Diaz is there. And obviously, all the talk about Diaz going doesn't look like it's happening. You know, I think Liverpool do want to keep him, so that Rodrygo one for me ain't going to happen. City need to get on needs to get on Rodrygo to keep up with Liverpool next season. To be fair, I think City are ahead at the moment. But if they was to get Rodrygo, as I said yesterday, for me, that takes them clear of Liverpool. I think at this moment in time, they're probably just edging Liverpool in the title race for me next season with their signings. But getting a Rodrygo in, you know, and again, they've got a space on that left-hand side, which needs plugging, I believe, you know, because, again, Grealish is going to go. Doku's not good enough. And Marmoush can play there, but Marmoush for me is more of a central player. So for me, yeah, Rodrygo just comes in straight away. And if Grealish was to go, you know, and they get Rodrygo, just give him that number 10 shirt, you know, and let him know how important he's going to be. So Sham says, I don't see Chelsea going for him as they have enough wide players. Well, for me, obviously, Kudus is going Tottenham, so that's one player they're not getting. Madueke is rumoured to be... Well, Madueke looking like he's edging closer to Arsenal. So I believe if Madueke and obviously the fact that Kudus is gone now, I believe Chelsea go in for another wide player for me. And I know they've signed Bino Gittins, but I expect them to be in for Rodrygo if he is available. Definitely. Man City could go for him as Grealish will most likely be leaving. They also need a goal scorer off the left as Doku isn't that guy. Yeah, I agree. So Sham says Bayern needs someone off the left too, but for some reason I don't see him wanting to reside in Germany. Yeah, I mean, I think out of all three of them teams, I do think the Premiership is the most likely destination for Rodrygo. But who's to say? I mean, Bayern Munich, they notoriously get top players at their club, and what I would say is that if he was to leave Real Madrid, Rodrygo, I mean, you've got Bayern Munich there who are crying out for someone like Rodrygo because you think of the injury to Musiala, you think that the likes of Kingsley Coman, obviously Sane's gone now, Nabry's getting on, Coman, obviously there's talk about him moving on. There's a real slot on that left hand side, which is why Bayern Munich are trying to chase someone heavily. So yeah, as I said, man, I think we have to just wait and see on that one. So Gamer reckons PSG 4, Real 2. I'm not sure if it'd be that high scoring of a game, to be honest. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well. I'm not. I don't think it'd be a high scoring game like that. But what I will say is, I think I do see PSG conceding at least 2 goals, and that's purely because I believe with William Pacho not playing, I think Real Madrid will fancy their chances. And the thing is as well, because Nuno Mendes and Hakimi both play high up the pitch, the pace of Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. could exploit the likes of Marquinhos and Beraldo in the half spaces. So that could be a problem. Whereas with Pacho's very good on the recovery. So that could prove a problem. And I wonder if Hakimi and Mendes, if they play slightly deeper today because of the pace of Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. And again, you've got Gonzalo Garcia, relatively newcomer. He's quite physical as well, so he's going to be up against Marquinhos, you would believe. So yeah, it's going to be a good battle though. Anyway, very good battle. Chouameni is playing in defence as Howson got a red card last game. Yeah, he could do. I mean, they could play Valverde right back, because if they play Valverde right back, then Chouameni plays in midfield. Or if they want to play Valverde in midfield, then they could play Chouameni in the back, which means they might play that Raul Asensio at right back. But I think the way that they're going to line up, I think Real Madrid line up with Valverde at right back, Rudiger and Asensio at centre back. They got that Fran Garcia at left back, and I think it'll be Chouameni, Goulet, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Gonzalo Garcia as the attack. Because I think with PSG's front line, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and Doué, I think Xabi Alonso is going to want a bit of reliability and solidity in that defence, which is why I think he's going to play Valverde. And let's not forget as well, Valverde is their captain when Modric is not on the pitch. So I can see Valverde playing right back, to be fair. But who knows? He could switch it up and play Chouameni at the back with Rudiger. But I'm going to say Chouameni plays in midfield and Valverde will be at right back. So Blue Baron says, who do you support? As Sham said, yeah, support Man United. At the moment, unfortunately. The thing is, in Man United, I'm just at the moment I'm not sure what to think of this team, because the news that I'm hearing today, I can't even be bothered to get onto it, man. It's just depressing, But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, big up, gamer, man. Big up, bro. Yeah, guys, keep your questions coming in. As I said, I will get back to each and every one of your questions. As I said, you guys take your time out to come onto the channel, so it's only right that I repay that and answer all your questions, But big up yourselves. So the Blue Baron says, do you think it's possible Man United could get relegated next season? What I would say never, but I don't believe United get relegated, because I don't think it can get that bad. I think as bad as United have been, them getting relegated for me isn't on the cards. But what I would say, and what I'll keep saying, is that what happened last season was unacceptable. And in terms of Man United this season, The manager for me isn't going to be there for the long term because I don't believe he's good enough. So I'm looking purely at the first 5 games for me. If the first 5 games, the manager doesn't get the results expected in terms of, because I'm expecting two or three wins out of the first 5. I think that's fair. I think that's fair enough to ask for. But I think if the manager doesn't get at least 2 or 3 wins, let's say the manager gets about 3 draws, 2 wins, or if there's 2 losses in there, 3 wins, or 2 draws and a win, 2 losses, or whatever. If I can see that the team are playing good football and there's a pathway, then I'll be more encouraged. But from what I've seen in this under this manager, I don't believe that. So I'm just gonna say the first 5 games, if he hasn't got positive results, he's gonna put pressure on himself anyway. So yeah. But to answer your question, Blue Baron, and big up yourself, I don't see United getting relegated. Because I don't think they're that bad as the 3 teams that got relegated in terms of Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. Because let's be honest, them teams are championship teams, and I reckon as well that the 3 teams that got promoted, I wouldn't be surprised if they all go back down as well. But saying that, I think you have to applaud Sunderland and look at Sunderland. Sunderland are a massive club as well in the northeast. You'd have to believe that what they're doing at this moment in time, in trying to get players in, has to be respected. I think today they've signed Simon Adingra from Brighton. They've signed the young talent from Club Brugge called is it Talby, Chimzadine Talby, and again he was being chased by a few other clubs. They've signed Reinildo from Atletico Madrid, the left back. So they're showing intent really to try and stay in the league. So yeah, it has to be respected. But yeah, I don't see Man United getting relegated. But this manager for me has 5 games to I don't care what signings happens. He has 5 games to prove that he's worthy of being there still. Gamer says, is that a bear? Do you know what, Gamer? I knew you'd ask that, but no, bro, it's not a bear, man. It's Super Malt or Mighty Malt. Yeah, little Mighty Malt there, man. One of my favourite drinks, Super Malt, Mighty Malt. For me, it's a summer drink. When the summer's here, out in the garden, a couple of cashew nuts and that, and a nice Mighty Malt, man. That's me. Big up yourself, though. Big up to Leslie Mackerel. Leslie Mackerel, what a name. After a fish, yeah? But big up, Leslie says, you already spoke about Arsenal offering 50 mil for Madueke. Yeah, criminal. Let's be honest, man. What are Arsenal doing offering 50 to 55 mil for Noni Madueke? And for me, that's where I look at football now and I think football's gone. Football had been gone for a little while, but to think that Arsenal, in the situation that they're in at the moment, in terms of buying ready-made players to take them to the next level, to think that they're going to spend 55 mil on Noni Madueke, football's well and truly over, And I just talk about football and watch football for the love of it, because it's all I know. But to think that we're going to watch Madueke get bought for more money than Zinedine Zidane is criminal. So, yeah, madness. But big up, Leslie. Good question. Big up to Elif Akçe, Turkish. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Salem. I'm guessing Salem means hi. I'm hoping it does anyway. But big up for coming on. So Blue Baron says, where's Grealish going? For me, if I'm honest with you, I think Jack Grealish needs to go back home to Aston Villa. I know it's under a different manager, under Unai Emery, but I think Grealish, for me, has to go back home to Aston Villa. I'd say if he stays in the Premiership, for me, Aston Villa and Newcastle would be the 2 clubs I think he should be going back to, or going to, should I say. If he goes abroad, if he goes to Spain, because for me, he's good enough to play for any team in the world on his day, in my opinion. But I think there's some teams, I'd say, why wouldn't Barcelona come in for him? I know he's on a higher wage, and I think Barca are looking at more pace, but he can play for Barcelona easily, for me. Bayern Munich, he can play for. But I think those teams are looking for players with pace on the flanks. So which is why I don't think those teams will be in for him. But if he's staying in the Premier League, Villa, Newcastle for me. I'd say more Newcastle because of Champions League football. But yeah, no, I rate Grealish highly, man. He's a top player, man, and he's one of them players that if you don't really know what you're watching, you won't respect him as much. And what I like about Jack Grealish is that Jack Grealish very rarely gives the ball away. And when he does give the ball away, it's because he's fouled. And technically, he's not really giving it away. So, yeah, he's a top player, man. Top player. But Man City, Pep, personally, have kind of killed him because he's a player that you don't give too much instructions to. You just let him get on the ball, dictate, and play his game. And at City, City under Pep, as we know, is very much system-based. So he's not really going to let him do that. The only player he's let do what he wants is Leo Messi. And obviously, we know why that is. So, yeah. Emmett says, Arda Güler to PSG. Do you know what? Why not? Why not? But I think the fact that he's playing now, I don't see that happening. Because Xabi Alonso, you can tell, rates him. And again, I did mention, guys, with Arda Güler, I saw him playing under Xabi Alonso. Because all you have to look at is the what he had at Bayer Leverkusen in terms of left-footed players in that team in the attack. So I did see him playing under Real Madrid, under Xabi Alonso, and I think he's not going anywhere now for me, Arda Güler. I think he's going to stay at Real Madrid now. 40's Life says Tottenham signed Kudus. Yeah, listen, very good signing. And you know what? For me, if Tottenham wants to somehow get Eze as well, as I said yesterday, I think the sign of Kudus, you got Kulusevski there as well. And I think the Kudus signing is key because I think that's going to allow Kulusevski now to play permanently in the 10. I think him and Maddison, I think they're going to... I think those two are battling it out for number 10 as well, I think. And again, Kulusevski can play from the right, so they've got options there. On that left-hand side, they've got Matis Tel, who they've signed. And for me, Matis Tel ain't a great player from what I've seen so far. But I think he has got improvement in him. So they'll be looking for that to happen this season. And I think if they get Eze, you know what I mean? Which, again, is up in the air at the moment. But Kulusevski, Maddison... Tel, Son, Solanke, they possibly might get another one if it is Eze. All of a sudden, that attack's looking quite frightening. I know Son's legs are gone, but it just shows you the addition of a couple of players shows you where the team can go, man. And yeah, I think under Thomas Frank, again, Thomas Frank's going to be using Kudus like he used Mbeumo, I just don't know why, and I mentioned this to you guys yesterday. I just don't know why Tottenham haven't even inquired about Johan Visser. If he wants to get an ex-player from Brentford, I don't know why he hasn't gone for Johan Visser. Because he could recreate Hobbs and Shaw, Mbeumo and Visser with Kudus and Visser. So I'm not quite sure why he doesn't do that, but who knows, man. But yeah. But 40 years life, man, I agree. It's a great signing, man. A very good signing. Because I wanted Kudus at United, but we can't even get Mbeumo over the line. So what hope have we got getting Kudus? It's just frustrating. But as I said to you guys yesterday, I'm more desensitized to Man United right now until the season starts. So we have to wait and see. Big up to Tom Lathan as well. So Tom says, do you think Elanga will succeed in Newcastle? So I think I answered this yesterday, Tom. I think the style that Newcastle play in, I definitely think Elanga is going to suit Newcastle. However, to think that Elanga's cost 55 million is absolute madness, because they could have gone for a few other players rather than getting Elanga in. But on the other hand, I think the way Newcastle play, quick in transition, I think Elanga's that's gonna suit Elanga down to the ground. Because if you look at if you're looking at Elanga, Gordon, Isak on the break, that is serious pace there. So yeah, he's gonna suit them definitely. And again, it's a no-brainer, man. He's going straight to play Champions League football, even though he missed out last season with Nottingham Forest. But and apparently Eddie Howe's been chasing him for a while. So yeah, I definitely believe that he's gonna suit them. However, for that amount of money, 55 mil is crazy. And as I said, Ilanga Madueke costing more money than Zizou, and it's one of them things where we think to ourselves, I know inflation, all that kind of stuff has gone up, but I just never thought I'd be in a world where I'd see those players like that going for 55 million. It's crazy. But yeah, he will succeed for me. Big up to Broderick as well. Yeah, big up to Broderick. Big up, bro, for coming on. Guys, just letting you know it's not beer, it's Mighty Malt, yeah? Non-alcoholic. See, non-alcoholic. Just letting you guys know. But yeah, so Gamer says, I don't see Man United relegated, especially if they get in Mbuemo, etc. Yeah, listen, I don't see United getting relegated. In my whole lifetime, I've never seen them get relegated, and I think that's going to continue. But yeah, Mbuemo's not even over the line yet, so we can't even be confident because everything's pointing towards United eventually getting the deal done. But, and guys, listen up, yeah? Who's to say Chelsea don't... The fact that Kudus is now gone to Tottenham, Madueke looking like he's going to Arsenal, who's to say Chelsea won't come in and just put a bid in for Mbuemo? Because everyone's saying that Mbuemo's first choice is Man United, but Chelsea can offer Champions League football, So who's to say that they won't go in for an Mbuemo? I think it's unlikely, but you never know, man. You never know. Because, as I said, they're getting rid of Madueke, it's looking like. So they're going to be needing to replace him. Not because he's a key player, but because of numbers, you would say. They might go for Mbuemo. You know what I mean? I'm not quite sure why they didn't go for him in the first place, but... So Tom Latham says, do you think all three newly promoted teams will get relegated? You know what? I've been saying this for the last few weeks now. I think the gap between the teams in the Championship and the Premier League is getting even wider. So I think everything points towards those three teams coming down. However, I think the fact to see what Sunderland have been doing, they're getting in players in left, right, and centre. As I mentioned, they've got in Adingra from Brighton, Talby from Club Brugge, Reinildo from Atletico Madrid on a free transfer. So they're making attempts to try and keep in the league. So you have to give them at least a chance. But I think as it stands right now, I think we have to say that the three teams coming up will be the likely three. Even though Burnley have had a good record in the Championship. But again, as we know, Championship to the Premier League is different. But yeah, I do think at this moment, those are the three likely teams to get relegated. But I think we have to commend what Sunderland are actually doing, because they're going out there spending the money. And of course, they got the money from Joe Bellingham as well. So there is money there to spend. But for me personally, I would like to see Sunderland stay in the league, because they're a massive club, Sunderland. And, it'd be good for them to stay in the league personally for me, Gamer says, Eddie Howe gets the best out of all of his players. Yeah, listen, I rate Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's a very good manager, man. Best English manager right now, hands down. He's a very good manager. Big up to Leslie Mackerel again, says, have you paid much attention to Birmingham? And if so, what do you expect from them this season? Oh, Birmingham. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Leslie. Championship is not a league that I've watched too often now. I mean, I used to watch it quite a bit, but not now. I couldn't even tell you really the majority of their players, but I think where'd they finish last season? I'm not even too sure. Because I think they'll probably be aiming for what? Mid-table for the playoffs. But I couldn't really tell you, so I haven't really been following them, you know. Um, but big up anyway. So Tom Lathan says, do you think Arsenal will give challenge for Premier League with Gyökeres? No. No, I don't. And that might surprise some people, but I think for me, City and Liverpool definitely are the top two. I think for me to change my mind on Arsenal challenging for the title, Gyökeres, in terms of what they need in their team, goals, etc., is a good start. Zubimendi coming in, but Partey going out, which again, I don't believe that takes them closer, because I think you're losing something with Partey, but gaining something with Zubimendi. I think the only way I'm going to take Arsenal seriously and challenge for the title is if they was to get Gyökeres in and then they go and get a top class left winger, as I've been saying for quite a while. And then if that happens, I think we can see that Arsenal are serious. But Arsenal are not going to get in what's required. And again, there's been talk about Eze, but do I think Eze takes them closer to a league title? Eze is a very good player for me, but Eze is not really a left winger. He's a number 10. So I think the way Arsenal play, you know, is probably suited to a different type of player for me, But definitely, at this moment in time, I would say Arsenal, as we speak right now, in terms of getting Gyökeres in, they're the third best team. But I don't think they'll challenge Liverpool or City right now for me. Definitely not. But again, things can change, man, because they might just surprise everyone and just sign someone that they haven't been linked to out of the blue. Guys, come on, we've got 11 likes on there. Let's smash that like button if we haven't done so already. And again, make sure you subscribe to my channel as well at GavGoesIn. So Tom says, how do you think about Duran going on loan for 16 mil to Fenerbahce? Do you think he will succeed in Mourinho's team? Yeah, Tom, big up, man. I think I done a stream on this a few weeks ago. John Duran, I'm a massive fan of. For me, I've always said it. John Duran should have been the striker that was signed before United got Højlund. And because obviously I saw the potential in John Duran. And again, John Duran's only 21 years of age. And I think he's primed to be one of the best strikers in Europe over the next couple of seasons. And when he went to Saudi, obviously he went for the money, and now he's on loan at Fenerbahce. What I would say is that there was reports that United were offered John Duran, which again is a good sign. But United didn't want to pay the entirety of his wages. I think that was what was rumored, which again you can't really blame them. I think it was either the loan fee United didn't want to pay, or they didn't want to pay the wages. And again, you can't really blame United for that. I just hope, they are back in for him if he shows a willingness to leave Saudi, and a willingness to lower his wage demands, because again, no one's going to pay him what he's getting paid in Saudi. I think it's rumored to be that he's on about 400 grand a week, which no one's going to pay him at the age he is and in England. So I just hope that he wants to come back to Europe, back to the Premier League, and United are in for him, providing his wages, and it's a realistic fee as well. But I'm a massive fan of his because I think he's going to be one of the best strikers in Europe. I think we hear a lot of stuff about his attitude, about his work in training, etc. But again, all that kind of talk I don't listen to, because there's many examples of players not trying in training, and the attitude talk is just a load of nonsense, So yeah, him going to Fenerbahce, the fact that it's a loan deal, again, he can kind of showcase his talent. I think he's going to be playing Champions League football as well, so under Mourinho. And I think Mourinho's going to... I can see why Mourinho wants him. I think Mourinho's probably looking at him as like a sort of mini Drogba, someone that he can rely on, and nurture him. And who's to say, man, he might even get a big move in the summer. Who knows? And I hope Man United are in the race for him if that happens. Definitely. Yeah, big up, Broderick, man. Big up. Big up to Ennis there as well. Big up Ennis there, bro. Guys, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Tom says Kudus is a baller and he'll probably get Spurs in a good position. Yeah, he is. He's a very good player, Kudus. You know, and Kudus is again is a number 10. You know, he can play as a 10, play on the right. You know, can play as a forward as well and on the left. But I think where he's gonna play is on that right hand side, and for me, Brennan Johnson then becomes a squad player in my opinion. But yeah, Kudus is a very good player, man, and he's gonna definitely take Tottenham up a level. But Tottenham do definitely need more additions as well. So whether they do that or not remains to be seen. But they're going in the right direction for me. Big up to Shaheen Afridi. Yeah, big up Shaheen. So, Gav, if Al Hilal was in Premier League, in which position do you think they will finish? Good question. You know what? It's difficult because that's a difficult one. Because I think they've played up against Premier League opposition, the best that the Premiership has to offer. It really, when you think about it, in Man City, and they've beaten them. So, but again, week in, week out, it's going to be a different tests. I think what I would say, just based on the players they've got, you know, you look at João Cancelo, Ruben Neves, you know, all these players have played in the Premiership before. That Marcus Leonardo, you know, I like him. I think he's good. Physical striker. Koulibaly, as we know, formerly at Chelsea and Napoli. So they've got players that have played in the Premiership before. I think personally, Al Hilal, mid-table, I would say. I'd say mid-table, probably top 8, I would say. You know, but it's kind of hard to say where they would finish realistically because I think don't take too much that they've beaten Man City because that was a one-off game. You know, if there was a few Premier League teams that they played, you know, over a home and away leg, then I think you get a bit more of a idea. But I think at this moment in time, it's kind of hard to see. But I'm gonna say mid-table, just to be fair. But yeah, to be fair, man, they've got former players in the Premiership, man, so they'll know the league. But yeah, I'm gonna say mid-table. Big up to Short Editor. Huh. So Shaheen says, Gav, did you see João Pedro's 2 goals? I did. João Pedro, man, two great strikes, you know, and again, that's a great signing from Chelsea, you know, and I think what's funny is that did I see Chelsea coming into this transfer window with João Pedro and Liam Delap as their 2 strikers? I didn't. You know, I think if we're looking at Nicholas Jackson staying, and they've got João Pedro and they've got Liam Delap, I don't see them getting another striker in. And is that going to be enough to get them competing with Chelsea? I mean, with Liverpool and Man City? I'm not sure at the moment, but João Pedro is a very good addition. Very good addition, you know, because for me, I'm surprised Liverpool didn't make their interest concrete. As we know, Newcastle wanted him, you know, and obviously Chelsea got him. So, yeah, he's a very good player, man. And again, 2 great strikes against his former club, which is mad. But yeah, no, I think he's a very good player. I think only one of newly promoted teams will get relegated. I think the rest 2 will be a mid-table team. No, I don't think so. That's actually giving higher praise to those teams. I don't see. So who got promoted? Burnley, Leeds, and Sunderland. I don't see those 3 teams being mid-table. Because if we're saying mid-table, that's 10th. Can I see those teams getting 10th? I can't. I have to be honest. So yeah, but I think if one of them stays up, I'll be surprised. Put it that way. And I think as we speak right now, I think the most likely team, for me before it was Burnley, but just seeing the signings that Sunderland are making, and I do believe they'll get a few more players in, I think they have to be the team that's most likely to stay in the league. You know. Um, do you think Liam Delap will not get enough game time at Chelsea? No, no, Delap will get game time. He'll definitely get game time. Because again, you know, I think what's on Delap's side is that Delap can play slightly withdrawn, or he can play right up against the centre back. So he offers something a bit different to, I would say, João Pedro. You know, João Pedro's, I think he's more adept at dropping off and picking up the ball. You know, so but yeah, no, I do think the lap will get enough game time. It just depends, because I'm surprised Chelsea haven't gone in for a proven goal scorer. You know, but maybe they think João Pedro, Delap, and if Jackson stays, might be enough. However, I think if Jackson actually does go, you know, they could be in for another striker. But the strikers market is little, because obviously talks about Osimhen going to Galatasaray. You know, obviously Gyökeres looking like he's going to Arsenal. Ekatike, I think he's favouring Liverpool and going to cost a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, you know, there isn't that many options. So that's probably why they got João Pedro, purely for that reason. Ennis there says, do you think Man United are using marketing strategy to stall the Mbeumo deal till when they release the away shirt? And what are your thoughts on Man United still looking at Dibbling, and what is he worth? Yeah, big up Ennis there. You know what? I've been hearing this. United are waiting till the away kit comes in, and then they're going to try to use Mbeumo. Again, a lot of that is to try and basically it's basically mugging off the fan base, really, knowing that, you know, if they can get a new signing through the door, put him in the away kit, it's going to entice fans to go and buy the kit, you know. And again, if you're a fan that goes and does that, you know, I think sometimes you have to just look at it and think, you know, sometimes these things aren't important in going to go and buy a kit, because when the Glazers, when they see that, you know, they've got you, really. So whether Man United are using it as a strategy, I'm not too sure. I don't know. But I think everything's going to point towards, if that does happen, if Mbeumo gets over the line, everyone's going to look at that for being the reason, you know, that they want to show off Mbeumo in a new kit, you know. For me, this deal should have been done about 4 weeks ago. But the fact that we're still talking about it is just boring now. So, but if they are using that strategy, then, I mean, I don't blame the club. I blame the fans, because if the fans are that dumb enough to still go and buy the kit, why are you blaming the club? The club are only doing what they know they'll be able to get away with. You know, if the club knew that they couldn't get away with certain things, they wouldn't do it. But they know that these Man United fans, you know, they're suckers, really, and they'll just buy anything rather looking at the bigger picture. So I can't really blame the club if they are doing that. You know, I blame the fans if they're that dumb enough to go and buy the kit, really. You know, if you want to make a statement to the Glazers, you know, do things that are eye-catching. You know, don't go and buy the kit. But again, you can't really control that for everyone, because everyone's free to go and do what they want to do. But as long as that happens and the majority are with that, then the Glazers are going to continue doing what they're doing, unfortunately, you know. Tyler Dibbling, listen, I'm a massive fan of Dibbling. For me, Dibbling's a signing that should be made if Man United get the likes of Mbeumo, you know, because for me, Dibbling's going to be one of the best players in the league. From what, when I first saw Dibbling was when he played against when he played up against Man United. He was up against Dalot. That's the first game I see him properly, you know. And even before he had the chance, I think, where did he force a good save or did he score the goal? I can't remember. The first 5 minutes, I said to myself, who is this player? Because he just looked different to everyone else on the pitch. And again, he's going to be highly sought after. I think the fact that Tottenham are getting Kudus, you know, if I was Tottenham, I'll get Kudus and Dibbling if Dibbling's available for a good price, and then try and sell Brennan Johnson. That's what I would do. But whether they do that or not, I'm not too sure. But there was talk about Dibbling being worth, I think I see something mad like 100 mil, which is never going to happen. I think Dibbling, if someone comes in with a bid, I can see Dibbling going for no more than 45 mil. I think 45 mil should be enough to get Dibbling out of Southampton for me. They're in the Championship. He's someone that is Premier League quality. So yeah, I reckon 45 mil for me. But yeah, I hope Man United go in for him. But the fact that we can't even get Mbuemo over the line, I'm tired of hearing about Dibbling and other players coming through. Just go and get this Mbuemo deal wrapped up, and then we can move on. But yeah, big up for your question, Ennis there, man. So I think Zubimendi was just average in 24-25 season. Partey was playing better. He had more successful passes and tackles. Shaheen, listen, man. Thomas Partey was Arsenal's best midfielder season just gone. Everyone's going to talk about Declan Rice because the two free kicks in the Champions League. But Thomas Partey was their key midfielder. So the fact they're losing his physicality, and then losing his experience is gonna be telling for me. And although, as I said before, Zubimendi is a very good football player, and will have that over Partey, the physicality of the Premier League is gonna show. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see them. But I do think Partey was their best midfielder. So do you think the lap made a wrong decision by choosing Chelsea over Man United? And where do you think Man United finish next season? For me, I don't. I think it was ideal for the lap to go to Chelsea. You look at Joe Shields, obviously the recruiter there. And, they've got Tosin Adarabioyo, Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia. They've got Bino Gittins in now, the lap. So the contingency of the former Man City players. The pool was always going to be there. And if I'm looking at younger players and trajectory, I think that's all in favour of Chelsea. So I don't think he made a wrong decision. I think he's made a decision which is best for his career, and you can't really blame him. Chelsea are in the Champions League. Obviously him playing for Chelsea as well, you'd expect him to be figuring in the England squad as well. I'll be surprised if he's not called up to the next couple of squads, because I think he's going to be the one to take over from Harry Kane. So yeah, I think he made a good decision going to Chelsea personally. I would have loved him at Man United, but obviously he's chosen Chelsea. And where do I think United finish next season? Well, that's difficult because under this manager, and for me, guys, the big thing I have against this manager is his player identification and the players that he likes, because for me, he likes too many of the wrong players. And I don't believe he sees that the whole season. So it's hard to say where do I think they'll finish. All I can judge it on really is the first 5 games, Ennis, there, because I think if a different manager comes in, let's say by Christmas or after those 5 games, a new manager could finish a lot higher than what Amorim's going to produce for me. Because to be honest with you, Amorim, when he first came in, I was excited. But from what I've seen, obviously last season, I don't think he's got it personally, And the first 5 games are going to show a lot. So I'm not going to say where I think United will finish. I'm going to look at the first 5 games, and then I'll have a better judgment as to what this team are really on. So yeah, I already answered that, Shaheen. I think you're looking at, Tottenham, because they're signing Kudus. Will Dibbling go there? I'm not sure now. Aston Villa, I think Aston Villa should go in for him. I think if you look at Aston Villa, they don't notoriously play with wingers as of late. But you think of Leon Bailey. I'm not sure if Leon Bailey's being moved on. But Dibbling on that right-hand side, I think would be good for them. So I'm going to say Villa, Tottenham still. Obviously, Man United, I'd like him at Man United. This might be a bit of an outside shot, but why not Nottingham Forest or Newcastle? I think Newcastle would be a great move for him, but I think in terms of what Newcastle like, the pace and the transition, Dibbling doesn't really fit that. And Dibbling's not slow, but in terms of serious pace, I don't think he fits the mould that Eddie Howe is probably looking for. Even though Dibbling is left-footed, if they're trying to get a left footer on that side there. But yeah, there's a few teams he can go to in the Premier League for sure, man. But whether those teams are in for him, I'm not sure. Turkish league is developing very fast. Yeah, yes and no. I think, yeah, they are getting a few players that you wouldn't expect. Obviously, Osman, obviously Galatasaray looking like he's going there. John Duran at Fenerbahce, you know. And to think that the striker pool is limited, to think that two of the strikers out there are playing in Turkey, I would never have foreseen that personally, you know. But who knows? What do you think about the future of Wanyeri and Harvey Elliott? As I said before, I think Wanyeri for me needs to move for the betterment of his career, and possibly the same thing for Harvey Elliott. I think both of them are at ages where they need to be playing regular football. So yeah, big up Shaheem for coming on. Big up to Brat 1903 as well. Sham says Sunderland won't hack the Premier League. I think the signings they've made so far, man, is quite promising personally. So Ennis there says, will Nicholas Jackson be forced out, and which other striker should United be looking at? So I think the only way Jackson gets forced out is if, I mean, it depends what Chelsea want. I mean, are Chelsea looking for a left winger? Are Chelsea looking for another striker? I'm not too sure. But I think if any one of them players comes in, I think Jackson might be the next one to depart. For me, as I've said before, Man United for me should be looking at the likes of Victor Boniface. I'm surprised Boniface's name hasn't been mentioned, but if Man United are looking for another striker, Victor Boniface, you know, Ekatike, Jean-Philippe Mateta, definitely. I'm looking at those three. But as I keep saying, for me, Man United don't really need another striker, because if you're going to get the wide forwards in, you've got someone like Joshua Zirkzee, who's a facilitator for the wide players to get numbers, as well as getting his fair share. And then you've also got the likes of Mbeumo, if he does come in, and Acuna that can play as a 9. So the necessity for a striker for me isn't really there, you know. With Luis Diaz having agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich, do you think Barcelona will be forced to go for Marcus Rashford? I think they don't pay up to 30 mil. So what? Diaz has agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich. I've not heard that. But again, that won't be hard, because Diaz is only on 55 grand a week anyway. So yeah, but I've not heard that. And again, Liverpool have already said they don't want to sell him, so that's going to be a hard one. Do I think Barcelona will be forced to go for Rashford? I don't think Barcelona are forced to go for Rashford. I think Rashford's desperate to go there. And I think Barcelona are only going to sign Rashford, in my opinion, if there isn't anyone else that they can get. That's my personal opinion. And as I said, I think it's going to have to be a loan deal where United are going to have to cover part of the wages. You know what I mean? So that's what I can see happening. Broderick says, "Are you not watching the game?" Yeah, bro, I'm watching it now, man. And so I'm gonna wrap literally in about a couple of minutes. So if you guys got your last questions, make sure you get them in, and I'll answer it before we wrap up. But big up yourselves each and every time for coming through. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this game, man. I think it's gonna be a very good game. So, guys, yeah, before we wrap, so what do we think about Rodrygo? Do you think Rodrygo needs to leave PSG, at least needs to leave Real Madrid? Or do you think he needs to just stay there and just battle it out? 1-0. Oh, what a save, Courtois. Dembele. Good save. Oh, Mbappe. Good play. Guys, this game's heating up. I ain't going to lie. It's heating up. Who's this? Mbappe? Yeah, he's going to be up for it, Mbappe. Good play. So, Ennis there's going for Real Madrid. Ennis there, listen, I'm going to say PSG, man. And exactly what Gamer said, it's like a final. It is. It should be the final, really. But I think you're looking at, yeah, two of the top teams, definitely, for sure. And I think this year's Champions League is going to be interesting as well, because I think there's a few teams there that, are going to fancy their chances of going all the way. I think I'm still going to say PSG are the team to beat, but who knows, man? Who knows? And as Sham said, yeah, Rodrygo needs to go. Yeah, 100%. 100% he does. Gamer says Mbappe has to show up. I think Mbappe looks up for it, to be fair. So he's made a good start. But I think, yeah, I'm going to say PSG, man. I'm going to say PSG. But guys, listen up. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. Obviously, been going for the hour. But yeah, I'm going to try and watch this game properly. And big up to all the mods each and every time. That's a goal. 1-0. Fabian Ruiz. And it's there, man. Are you still there? Are you still there? Listen, PSG, man, they're something special, man. They're something special. 1-0. It would have been a penalty as well. Yeah, big up, Broderick, man. Big up. Yeah, guys, listen up. Sorry for that. But yeah, big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. And as I said, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. If you haven't smashed that like button, smash that like button. Make sure you do that to help the channel reach more people, as I said. And again, keep an eye out on the schedule for when I go live next. I'm pretty sure I'll go live at some point tomorrow. Not sure what time. Tomorrow's quite a busy day for me. But yeah, keep an eye. If I am gonna go live, guys, it might be a later one. I'm not sure what time. It might even be 7 o'clock, 7:30. But I'll let you guys know. And if I don't go live, then be sure that I will be live the next day. But as I said, big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.